Spiritual aerobics. They're good for us. They're good for us, right? Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Greater Dayton. I'm Reverend C.C. Coltrane, and if you're with us for the very first time, a special welcome to you. Thanks for spending your morning with us. On your bulletin cover, you'll find a little tear-off strip. So if you're new, we would love to be able to just send an email to you and let you know what's coming up. You can fill that out with your contact information, take it to the Welcome Center, put it in the offering basket as it goes by. And if you do that, we will donate $1 to a local charity in your name. Our pulpit assistant this morning is Linda Andriaco, and our vigil holder is Lenza Smith. And it is Family Sunday, so we have the absolute joy of having two of our youth do our interfaith candle lighting. Callie and Sarah Brust are going to do the candle lighting and reading. I think we have kids doing a couple of other things around here, so if you see one serving, say thank you. We do our interfaith candle lighting because at Center for Spiritual Living Greater Dayton, we honor and draw from the wisdom of all of the world's religious traditions, the same way our founder, Ernest Holmes, did. Just on a note of what we're up to this year, we're focusing on building a community of people who live according to their highest spiritual values. Community is the place we practice doing that because we can support each other in it as a community. It's hard sometimes to watch the news or read the newspaper or be with negative people and remember your highest spiritual values. And so we support each other in really living from our highest spiritual values. We help each other recover when we fall down and forget those values, and we cheer each other on as we get up and try again. So our annual meeting is right after the service, and we'll be talking more about those community building things that we're going to be doing. And the annual meeting's right after the service today, so I hope you'll stay. So I guess right now it's time for our next special music, is it not? This is a song called I Think I See the Light.
We light this candle in honor of Christianity. Dear friends, if our hearts do not condemn us, we have confidence before God and receive from Him anything we ask, because we keep His commands and do what pleases Him. We light this candle in honor of Islam. Unity is written on the tablet of your heart. You should continue studying that tablet for eternity. You have spent a lifetime reading scriptures and consumed yourself in this pursuit of ignorance. You only have to remember the one word of God and keep on practicing that one word. We light this candle in honor of the Sikh religion. God, the helper of the helpless, the strength of the weak, the supporter of the fallen, the true Father of all. Forgive us, O Lord, all our faults. Extend your helping hand to everyone. Grant us the company of those who may help keep your name fresh in our hearts. We light this candle in honor of Buddhism. The only real failure in life is not to be true to the best one knows. We light this candle in honor of the Native American religions. When you know who you are, when your mission is clear and you burn with the inner fire of unbreakable will, no cold can touch your heart, no deluge can dampen your purpose. You know that you are alive. We light this candle in honor of Hinduism. Always aim at complete harmony of thought and word and deed. Always aim at purifying your thoughts, and everything will be well. We light the final candle in honor of Judaism. Who is wise? One who learns from every man. Who is strong? One who overpowers his inclinations. Who is rich? One who is satisfied with his lot. Who is honorable? One who honors his fellows.
Today's reading is from How to Use It by Tama Keeves. Astonish yourself in this lifetime. Discover your own faculties. You did not come here to settle on the sidelines and watch others live their dreams. When did you stop believing you could have what you wanted? Begin again. You are anointed. You are not alone. Give the universe another chance to give you your chance. Let's take these words into the silence for a couple of moments, please. God is right here, right now, as it has been from the beginning of time. God is in the crisp air in this morning, in each and every snowflake that's floated down from the skies. God is all possibilities, and we are part of this world of possibilities. We are awake, alert, and open to discovering what we are here to be. I am thankful for everyone that is here today. I'm thankful for the children's ministry, the music ministry, and every ministry that everybody does every day in the outside walls of this church. And I say, thank you, God. And so it is.
Changed everything around. We're still trying to find our rhythm in all this. So this month we talked about living according to spiritual values as the setup, and then we're talking about the foundational beliefs of our philosophy. And the first one, of course, is that there's this thing called God, and what do we think it is? We talked about the way it works and what it does. And in brief, we know that God is everything, that there's nothing that's not filled with the presence of God. And so Angie and Stephanie are going to bring up something that the kids have made that we want to talk to you about for a minute. They created this big heart, and half of it was done by our youth, and half of it was done by our teens. And on it, you'll see there are Post-it notes. And those Post-it notes are the ways that our youth see God, see and understand God. And they're wonderful. I urge you to go up and read them after service. And I want to know who Nibbles and Chloe belong to. Oh, is it Chloe? Okay. Nibbles and Chloe are the four-legged expressions of God in the Breast household. And it just sang to my heart because mine would be Bunny and Chloe. Those are my two teachers about God, the ones in my house. So it sang to my heart. So we're going to put the heart over on that easel over there. And in your bulletin, you might have noticed there are two sticky notes, right? There should be two different colors. And so you're invited to add to this heart by writing what you think God is. What are the qualities and attributes and expressions of God's expression in your life? And put your notes up on the heart. It is an ongoing project. The kids and us are all going to be adding to it as our understanding and ability to see Spirit in action expands. So feel free to add to it. And please add to it this morning with whatever it is that's in your mind and heart today. We also talked about how this thing called Spirit works. It works by creating. It is always pouring itself out in creation. And part of that creation is all of you and me and everyone, all life, all existence is part of that creation. It shapes itself, if you will, through the mental channel through which it is drawn. The only place we really experience the power of God is within ourselves. And so it comes to us as it comes through us. The channel of my mind is going to create something different than the channel of your mind. That's how it's supposed to be, because together we all form this thing called universe, right? Every single one of us is an integral and necessary part of that expression called universe. So given all of that, our founder Ernest Holmes said, there is a power in the universe greater than we are, and we can use it. And I don't know about you, but I was raised Catholic, and when I first heard that, I thought, blasphemy. It's blasphemy. How can we use God? But I came to understand that we use it all the time. We use it all the time. Everything that we do, we are drawing on the mind of God through the channel of our own minds, shaping the energy of life into our experiences and our memories and our world. This is my favorite quote from Dr. Holmes' book, The Science of Mind. We are surrounded by an intelligent force and substance from which all things come. It is around us in its original state and ready and willing to take form through the impulse of our creative belief. It works for us by flowing through us. Hence, it follows that if we believe it will not work, it really works by appearing to not work. When we believe that it cannot and will not, then according to principle it does not. But when it does not, it still does. Only it does according to our belief that it will not. In short, it is always working through us according to our belief. And so if we think it won't work, guess what? It won't. If we think that it will, guess what? It does. That's what happens. It's always creating through the channel of our own minds, our own beliefs, our own thoughts. We're always using it, whether we're conscious of it or not, because we are expressions of that one life. If we want to change the way our life is unfolding, therefore, we have to change the shape and the size of the channel of our own minds. We have to change the way we're believing and thinking. This whole philosophy, I'm getting ready to teach our ministerial students the historical foundations of New Thought in general, which includes unity and divine science and all those other things, as well as Centers for Spiritual Living. And it began as a way of physical healing in the late 1800s. Prior to the wide availability of antibiotics, most people died of influenza or pneumonia. Prior to public health measures increasing the health of all of us, people realized in those quite uncertain times, the average lifespan was under 40 at that point, that a person's state of mind could make or break their health. Looking at the power of spirit rather than giving the power to the disorder or disease resulted in healing. And now we're told by mainstream physicians that of course our state of mind, whether we're positive or negative, whether we believe we can get better, that affects our healing enormously. Sometimes, if you're interested, Google positive thinking and health. The very first site that pops up is Mayo Clinic, and they have a whole bunch of information on how positivity influences health. So when the average lifespan increased because of antibiotics and better public health and things like that, people realized that our whole lives would be made better if we approached life positively rather than negatively. So we work within our own minds and hearts. We work within our own belief structure to enlarge our concept of spirit and what it does in us and as us and through us. We enlarge the depth and breadth of that channel of our own minds. We know that from experience, when we do that, life changes. My life certainly has. My life has gone from, I think it was I can't remember which song it was talking about seeing the gray clouds and the gray floor. Yeah, I lived that for a long, long time. And now my life is pretty technicolor most days, you know? Some days I still bring on the gray, but that's a choice. It's not the way I see life anymore. I think that we know that if enough of us are looking at life through a positive lens, if enough of us are living as though this universe is peaceful and supportive and loving, then the more beautiful world that we feel in our hearts is possible. It starts to show up. It starts to show up in our world. In the 90s, when from about 1977 through even today, meditation sort of swept the country as a way of becoming more spiritual. And there was a study in 1993 in New York City where up to 4,000 advanced meditators meditated in New York City peacefully for a couple of weeks. And during that time frame, the city's crime rate dropped 23%. And when they stopped meditating, it started to go back up. In 2009, the people of Iceland staged a very conscious and very peaceful revolution, which resulted in a whole new government and a new constitution. They really did an amazing thing, and it was consciously chosen. And of course, we have examples like Gandhi in India, who had a nonviolent revolution that changed minds and beliefs and resulted in India becoming independent of Britain. Gandhi had a great quote about that whole experience. He said, "A nonviolent revolution is not a seizure of power. It's a program of transformation of relationships, ending in a peaceful transfer of power." I love that. It's about transforming our relationships. So I asked myself, wow, what would happen if everybody in this room started actually living what it is we say we believe? What if we all started living as though we were the embodiment of God? What if we actually started remembering every single day who we were? That we're life in form, we're spirit, we're God itself in form. What if we started conducting ourselves, all of our relationships, all of our conversations, all of our actions, as though we were spirit, thinking about spirit, as though we were God speaking and looking at God, speaking to God, as though we were the heart of God relating to the heart of God? What would change for us? What would the world look like if we lived that way? And I began to imagine that the very first thing that would happen is we'd all have really terrific lives, which is in and of itself enough, right? But the other part of it is that we'd grow used to listening to that intuitive voice, that voice of inspiration, where we always know the thing to do, the thing that really needs to be done, and we'd get used to acting from that instead of from our old fear and our old shame and our old comparison with each other. I don't know, it seems to be something that we all do. We compare ourselves to someone else, hoping to find some way that we might feel better than they are. It's just how we do it. They teach us that in school, don't they? And there's always the head of the class. Remember type class? Yes. Oh, mandatory type class, and we used to have speed contests, speed and accuracy, so that one of us would get to be first chair. That meant the rest of them weren't first chair. These comparisons get built up in us from all around. And what would happen if instead we were looking out of the eyes of God, seeing God sitting in front of us, being that particular, necessary, unique expression of God? Whew. Gives me chills. It really does. We would use the brilliance that each one of us has, these minds, the intellect, the ability to dream, the ability to imagine, the ability to use our willpower to focus our thoughts. We would use all those gifts as instruments of God. We would begin to sense the divine presence around us all the time. We would begin to understand the divine presence that we are, that each one of us is. We would rely on it. We'd let it carry us when we needed carrying. We would live from our magnificence rather than, the baggage. The baggage. We would begin to have higher and higher expectation of good in our lives. Because I believe that when enough of us start living as though life was one great big conspiracy for good, which I believe it is, we'll see it conspire to produce good all over the place. For all of us, we'll see good happening everywhere. In our individual lives, but also in the lives of our neighbors, in the lives of the coal miners in West Virginia, and the refugees in Syria, and in our government, and in our schools, and in our streets. We'd see it everywhere. This is challenging stuff. It's a very challenging time to try to increase our awareness right now. A lot of times we try to create a bubble for ourselves. We don't watch the news or read anything that will let us know about what's going on in the world. We don't hang out with people who might want to tell us what's going on in the world or who might speak negatively about it. So what I'm suggesting is that a practice of really being all that we are means we stretch our bubble out to encompass more and more and more of the world. We increase our bubble, the bubble that is the anticipation of good, out to take in the world. And that means we start looking for the good even in places we might not expect to find it. We start looking for the good in the government, in the schools, in our friends, in our coworkers, everywhere. We start looking for the good. And when we find it, the smallest little piece of it, we praise it. We express gratitude for it. We raise it and praise it. Because I promise you, if we are people of faith in the basic goodness of the universe, of life itself, of God, we will find it. We will find it. And our finding, our raising and praising it increases it. That's simply how it works. And in a nutshell, that's how to use it. That's how to use it. Find the good and praise it. Praise it up one side and down the other. Praise it some more. If your kid does something great, praise them. If your spouse does something wonderful, praise them. If you do something wonderful, praise yourself and praise yourself some more. Sing your own praises. If your senator does something you think is good, send him a thank you note. Ernest Holmes put it like this: we learn to control our thought processes and bring them into line with reality. Thoughts should tend more and more towards an affirmative attitude of spirit that is positive and stable and toward a real unity with spirit. Spirit that is already complete and perfect. So how do we do that? That's what spiritual practice is all about. We meditate so that we can see how our mind jumps constantly from one thought to the next to the next. We also get to see how most of those thoughts are wasted airspace. You know what I mean? Listen in your own mind, wow, sunshine. Oh, God, I wonder if I put on sunscreen today. Wow, I should screen my calls today because I have a lot to do. Oh my God, I forgot to tell Susie that we changed the deadline on that project. Ooh, speaking of projects, I really need to clean out my closet. Oh God, did I lock the cat in the closet this morning? I knew she was in there, but I thought I got her out. Wow, Mary was so catty to me yesterday. You just go from one to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, and it's all wasted airspace, isn't it? So we start to see that, and we start to release the hold. If I'd have been able to release the hold at about, I need to clean out my closet, I might have come back to myself instead of continuing to follow that weird jumping monkey that leads my thought from tree to tree. When we learn to let that nattering go, we find something else. When we just let those things drift by like clouds, we find a vast silence. We find a place where we can really look at our world and our beliefs and our thoughts without the baggage of prejudice, without the baggage of our own biases, our fears, our shame, our guilt, any of that. We can simply look at it all and discover a place where we can raise and praise the good that is the basis of our very lives. So in prayer, we raise and praise. We raise the good that we see. We claim the good. We claim it and more good. In affirmation, we counter our perhaps biological ability to spot the negative and magnify it. You know, we still have that part of our brain that came from little tiny mammals who were always afraid. And it still says, oh, alert, red alert, red alert. And we have to say, no, there are no saber-toothed tigers or any other large creature that are about to kill me. We sort of have to just counter the negative and raise in our own consciousness and praise the good. Once we do that, once we bring our thoughts and feelings into alignment with positive expectation of good, our lives become much more fulfilling and much more filled with joy. I think that is the key to the world that is good for all life. The world that works for everyone, as our banner from last year says, because our actions are based upon our beliefs. Our actions are based upon what we think and believe. They're like, we're like gardens. We have to cultivate the thoughts and beliefs and feelings that we desire, like we would cultivate the flowers we want to see. The weeds sort of arise on their own, don't they? Have you ever planted a weed? I don't think anybody's ever planted a weed. But there they are. There they are. So instead of watering and feeding them with our stress and our worry and our fear, we start paying more attention to the flowers that we want. We keep our focus on the good that's already in our lives, and we call forth more of it. We envision the good that we want, and as we do that, it become manifest, because when we act from that place, even if we are protesting, even if we are asking our senators to do something that we don't think they're going to do, even if we are hit with, news like the mosque being torched, we find the good in the situation and we let our hearts move in that direction, then we're going to be a positive influence instead of an influence of anger or sadness. Sadness is not something to be treated lightly, but what I'm saying is when we come from the place of finding the good in every situation, then we call it forth. We raise it, we praise it, we create more of it. Even Mr. Rogers said, look for the helpers, they're always there. Look for the good people, they're always there, right? The good is always there. Then we use this power of the universe through the channel of our own minds to create our experience of reality on a day-to-day basis. We change the size and shape of that channel through our spiritual practice. We create a vision for our lives and a vision for the world, and we try to live that vision to its fullest extent. We say yes. We say yes to that divine creative impulse that's within us. The Atman, the force of creation, it's within us every single day. As Tama Keeves said in the reading from today, which comes from her book called A Year Without Fear. It's a great little resource for remembering who we are. She said in the reading, astonish yourself in this lifetime. Astonish yourself. Discover your own faculties. You didn't come here to settle on the sidelines and watch others live their dreams. When did you stop believing you could have what you wanted? Begin again. You are anointed. You are anointed. You are not alone. Give the universe another chance to give you your chance. And so right now, if you would just join me in a moment of conscious togetherness, conscious unity. As you just let your awareness fall into your heart space, fall into that sweet spot, the residence of the soul, if you will, the place where the human and the divine meet, right about the level of the heart. This is the place where we find that deep silence, that vast place of power and creativity that resides within each one of us. The place where the spark of the divine that we are is always shining. And as we gather there in consciousness, we remember that God is all the power there ever was or ever will be. That God is all the peace and beauty and joy and harmony and health and abundance and healing and well-being and wisdom we could ever desire. God is all there is. There's nothing outside of it. So it encompasses the allness of everything. And yet God is also beyond space and time, always creating newly, always gathering more wisdom, always encompassing more love. And that is what is flowing through us, in us, as us, every single day. And so what I know right now is that we simply say yes to all of it. We widen the channel and deepen the channel and say yes to the allness of God pouring through us into the world. We say yes to the love that God is, filling us up, every cell, every thought, every word, every deed. We say yes to the health and abundance and well-being and joy of God showing up as us and as our lives every moment, every hour, every day, every week, every month, every year. We say yes to our own unfolding, our own perfect expression of this divine one. Because I know this is the truth about everyone in this community. I say thank you. I express my gratitude for life itself, this adventure of spiritual beings having a human experience, this learning that is available to us every single day about who we are and all that we are. I express my gratitude for this community and the light that it shines into the world. I express my gratitude for our youth and the absolute brilliance they are bringing into the world every moment. I say thank you. And I release these words into the infinite law of the universe that has already said yes. It is done. It is good. It is whole, perfect, and complete. And we acknowledge it by saying together, and so it is.
I am just a thread, a simple thread in this glorious web of life.
We are all just drops within a stream flowing towards an ocean of light.
We may forget where we come from. We may forget where we're going to. I might not see that you're a reflection of me as much as I'm a reflection of you. I'm just a seed, a blessed seed with eternity unfolding in me.
And I pray that as I grow, I will reveal the love that illuminates my soul.
When I remember where I come from, when I remember where I'm going to, then I will see that you're a reflection of me as much as I'm a reflection of you. simple prayer. May I become a reflection of the Infinite One. This is my simple prayer. May I become a reflection of the Infinite One. This is my simple prayer. May I become a reflection of the Infinite One. This is my simple prayer. May I become a reflection of the Infinite One.
Oh, yes. Amen. We now have an opportunity to give in support of our center and its work. Your gifts and offerings, let us be here every Sunday, and let us provide a space where our kids learn how to live according to the spiritual magnificence. Good morning, Haley. How you doing? So that all of us, we provide a space where all of us grow together as people who live according to their spiritual values. And all of that changes lives everywhere, because we walk out of here in a space where we inspire others to change, to become happier and more productive and more contented. So we are so grateful for all of the gifts and offerings and tithes that come, whether they come in the basket or electronically or any other way. So please affirm after me. I am joyful.
I am joyful.
I am free.
I am free.
I am grateful.
I am grateful.
I give with gratitude.
I give with gratitude.
And I say yes.
And I say yes
to all the good
to all the good
life has to offer.
life has to offer.
And so it is. Normally I would turn this over to Linda or Stephanie, but I forgot to write a couple things down, so I better do it myself so I get all the announcements made. First of all, I want to say thank you to Callie and Sarah, and to Fiona and Ava, and Haley for being part of our service today. Thank you. You are fabulous. Thank you all. Thank you back there. It is birthday Sunday, so happy birthday to Donna Carpenter, Kathy Claude, Doug Ellis, and Daryl Lee. Anyone we missed? Happy January birthday. We have cake and ice cream after the service in the social hall. We even have gluten-free cake for those of us who require that. Speaking of the youth are working on a project, so if you have any extra trim, ribbons, gorgeous, sparkly stuff, things like that, buttons, that you can give to this project. You can bring it by the office this week or drop it off in the main youth room in the back of the center. It is the second room on the right as you head down the back hallway. You can take a look at the calendar page of the bulletin and the bulletin insert to find out what's coming up around here. There's a lot happening, including next Sunday, a Find Out More class. If you want to find out more about us, about what it means to be a member of the center. If you're interested, just put your name over on the sign-up sheet at the Welcome Center so we have enough materials for everybody. Don't forget to put your sticky notes on the heart, write on them the words that encompass your understanding of God and the way God shows up in your life, and please add to the heart. If you would like prayer after service, our licensed prayer practitioners would love to pray with you. You can ask any of the women in the teal or white stoles. Just ask them for prayer and they will take it from there. They have studied and practiced and prayed for lots of years to be able to see the spiritual truth for us even when we can't. And so this is their gift to you on Sunday. It's a 1-minute miracle, we call it. So take advantage of that. You can also put a written prayer request in the dark wooden chest that's on the bookcase right before you go through the door to the parking lot. Those will be picked up after service and the practitioners will pray for you. You can also call our prayer line or even go to our website, which is cslgd.org, and click on the link for prayer on the website. I think that was everything. I'm not getting any nods or anyone waving or shouting, so I will assume that's everything, except don't forget, for the first 3 minutes after service, don't talk to someone you know, talk to someone you don't know. Start a conversation with somebody you don't know, and welcome them to their center if they're new. And don't forget to get your 12 hugs before you leave here today. 12 hugs a day for good mental health. And I just want to say thank you to everybody, our youth, our practitioners, our welcome team, our today all-male version of the Higher Mind Band, and the fabulous Kyle Elwood, along with the rest of these fabulous musicians, and all of you for making today possible. So let's stand for our closing affirmation and our closing song, Ricky Byers, back with I Release and I Let Go. I raise and praise the good.
I raise and praise the good.
I raise and praise the good in my life.
I raise and praise the good in my life.
I raise and praise the good in the world.
I raise and praise the good in the world.
And I welcome more and more good.
And I welcome more and more good.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Have a fabulous week, and don't forget to stay for the annual meeting.
When does it start? Like right after?
15 minutes.
15 minutes. Hey! Well, I really and I let